Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To talk
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
about was Xavier Legette. I love that player. But Steve Sims brought up that after a while, the fan favorite just isn't a favorite anymore because he's not executing, and I'm afraid that's starting to happen for Legette. I feel as though a lot of times uh, there should be obviously, a lot more production. He was a first round pick. Um, and looking at some of the different options, I wrote an article about this, and I feel as though the Panthers almost misread what Bryce Young needed. Um, the physical type of Leggett is tempting because it made sense due to his size, his speed, his athletic ability. Every receiver can use a guy like him, but I think Lad McConkey would have been a much better choice. If you don't remember, to say the Panthers during that time, they were coming off a 2-15 season. Bryce Young looked horrible his rookie year, and what made it worse was the Panthers had the number one overall pick, but it was actually possessed by the Bears. And Caleb Williams, the phenom from USC, was clearly the number one choice and had been for the last 2 years. And to top it all off, not only did the Panthers lose out on Caleb Williams, they lost out on the best receiver, DJ Moore. And all that for just Bryce Young. And the frustration of any fan would have been, so let me get this straight. We could have had a generational talent, but we traded for a guy who looks like this. Fantastic. Um, Incredibly frustrating. Matt Rule was still the coach, but then ended up getting fired after after 5 games, going 1-4. Steve Wilkes, good defensive coordinator. Led the Panthers to a 6-6 season. He actually led the Panthers to their last 7-win season. And even though they didn't win the division, a lot of the players on that team really wanted him to get the opportunity to coach them for the future. But Dave Tepper decided to give Frank Reich the opportunity, and he immediately was fired after 12 games, going 1-11. Thomas Brown took over uh, to end the season with some play calling duties, but it just never meshed well. Frank McVay's more of a motion. Uh, sorry, Brown comes from the McVay tree, and so a lot of motions, a lot of shifts, and Reich was more just straight vertical, deep passing game, develop it, so on and so forth. So it was almost it was a mismatched coaching staff. Guys were consistently reports that are crazy were almost backstabbing each other. So um, it was that the staff wasn't great, needless to say. And the other selection, number two, CJ Stroud was having an amazing year, finishing top 10 in passing yards, quarterback rating, top 15 in touchdowns and completions. The guy who I personally wanted the team to get, but I don't make the big bucks. They did. They went with Bryce Young, and nothing we can do about it other than just support him. So it was frustrating, completely frustrated, and so all this happening, and now you're going, okay, we need to give Bryce Young a true weapon. Who are some options? We don't have a first round pick, and out comes Leggett having a breakout season out of South Carolina. Um, the- I specifically remember Leggett and going, "Oh, he could be a great guy in the bottom of the third if the Panthers could either move up from that fourth and pick him up in mid third." But hey, I like his size. He's a little bit raw, but he had a breakout season, so he knows how to play. Let's just see where he can end up. And the Panthers ended up getting him in the bottom of the first after trading up. to get him. And the comparisons immediately were with DK Metcalf, similar build, similar size. Obviously, DK is a lot more explosive, but the idea is, hey, he can be a guy who can go up and get the ball, fight on for one-on-one opportunities, and break a few tackles. And he's from the area, so they were quite aware of him. Fans loved him, and he became a viral player because of his accent. And again, um, the pick makes sense. He's an upside. Hey, we're going to give him plenty of run at the position. Hopefully, he'll learn, grow, and step into the role. And um, it was a guy that players definitely enjoyed. Even the coaches, Dave Canales spoke, said that had nothing he could say. Uh, he loved the idea that Bryce would grow with Legette. And even though that really wasn't happening because Legette's rookie year was marred with inconsistency and injury. The crazy thing is, later in the second round, if they just stayed where they were, they could have gotten Lad McConkey. Uh, Lad's rookie year was fantastic. He was Justin Herbert's favorite player. Justin Herbert had specifically said, um, he picks up the offense quickly and plays like a 4 to 5 year veteran. He is an amazing route runner. His speed's impressive, and he's able to always get always able to find a way to get open, especially in the clutch situations. Uh, and almost watching those two guys, it was frustrating because it really didn't. It seemed as though the Panthers at the time didn't understand who Bryce Young was. Bryce Young is not a vertical threat player. He's a timing and rhythm player. And the choice is obvious now. Uh, even Lad hasn't had the best season this year, but I think that's more with the Chargers being the Chargers, and Justin Herbert almost being killed playing back there with his O line being decimated this year. I think if Herbert had a little bit more time, he's able to find guys like the Lad, and their season's going to be a lot better. But Bryce Young would do a lot better with a receiver who can see the coverage a lot better, who can play slot or even who can play on the outside or the slot and can pick up the offense because Bryce is clearly smart. I have my issues with Bryce, but I think the one thing Bryce does really well is he understands exactly where the ball's supposed to go. And it's just at times either a guy's messing up or his arm strength isn't talented enough to get the ball there sometimes. I just feel another thing is uh another thing was they they just I don't know if the board necessarily agreed that Leggett was worth the first rounder, so I didn't understand them moving up. So then you had to give up capital to even move up a slot for a guy that I think is being outplayed by another second year player, Jalen Coker. I do think the Panthers have learned their mistake though. When they drafted McMillan, he was clearly a more polished receiver. And granted, it was at the eighth pick, but it's they wanted a big play guy, so they have that. McMillan was notorious in Arizona for those big plays. He has a size, he has the athletic frame, but he's also very technically sound. There was that statement made by him that he didn't watch film. And I think that was probably overblown because his football IQ is really, really high. When you watch the tape, he's always able to find holes in the defense when especially against zone and but also had the ability to go up and make a play. And watching him now his rookie year, it's exactly what I thought it would be. My only beef with and it's not even him is I want I want the offense to be a little bit more creative using him. Yes, he's at 6'5". Yes, he's 6'5", but I wouldn't mind him playing a little bit more in the slot. I wouldn't mind him even be in the backfield a little bit to kind of set up a matchup with linebackers, just some different coverage, force the defense in different coverages to have them think and almost panic. Okay, McMillan's here. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Um, I it it's really gonna be interesting to see how McMillan grows, especially with Coker as being the true number two and Leggett being the number three. They're still giving Leggett the opportunity to play. He's a first rounder. They've invested a lot of money. That's just the game of the NFL. Hey, we're going to invest in the guy that we've used a lot of draft capital of because we don't want to be wrong. I really want him to be a player. I really, really do. So it's not personal. I just feel like his accent's more famous. It's bigger than his play. Shoot, he was in Gorilla's type of video, and he did a good job. I mean, hey, he stood there, she did her thing, and it was fantastic to see. And again, the dude's likable. I'll go back to what Coach Canal said, where he was really after he made that big winning catch with the Dolphins. He was quoted to say that he said that he see talking about Leggett, he sees what he does. Leggett, sorry, Coach Canal sees what Leggett does on a weekly basis, and he tries to attack what he needs to do to get better. And obviously, that every player should be doing that, but the coach is clearly putting a point to where, hey, he's doing the things he's supposed to do. It just hasn't had success, and maybe this game against the Bucks, he's able to have a big game and um, help the Panthers into the playoffs. And this whole section of mine is completely mute and doesn't even make any sense. But in the meantime, I think my personal opinion is we should have drafted Lad McConkey for an array of reasons. But I think the big thing was we tried to get physical traits over actual football production, and it's a wasted draft pick in that 2023. So